What will we hear first tonight? With the 22nd pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select? Or will we hear, we have a trade alert? The Eagles have traded up. Or will we hear Roger Goodell say, we have a trade, the Eagles have traded the 22nd pick and trade down? Those are the questions that we are going to discuss today on Trending in the AM. We're live with your thoughts and opinions, talking anything you want, but we're talking NFL draft today. We're live in just over a minute. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill. Whichever platform you're watching on, make sure you hit those like, share, subscribe, follow, retweet buttons. Whatever it is you could do on any of the platforms to get people into the show, to get them in on the conversation, so that we can discuss what will happen in just over 12 hours when Roger Goodell goes to the podium and says, with the 22nd pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select blank. What was that game show used to be called? The Match Game? I know they tried to bring it back, the old 70s version of it. Fantastically inappropriate in this day and age, but still a great listen. XYZ and blank. So with the 22nd pick, the Eagles blank. That is what we are talking about today. We could talk about the Phillies if anybody wants to. Obviously, another loss last night. Rob Thomson doing his best job as manager. The Sixers, Game 3 in South Philly tonight against the Knicks. I don't even know what the pulse of that Sixers nation is right now, but it doesn't really matter because our Philadelphia Eagles tonight will take another step towards returning to the Super Bowl with their decisions. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, every morning here on Trending in the AM. You can find me any social media platform I'm on. If I'm on it, it's at Beard of Knowledge. And we're brought to you here at Edge of Philly Sports by SherryTickets.com. Check them out because great moments don't just happen. They happen with you in the crowd. SherryTickets.com, easy to use and no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. And if you use promo code EOP10, not only will you not pay any of those fees, you'll also save 10%. If you need a more personal touch, give them a call, 610-494-5050, or just visit SherryTickets.com. Again, SherryTickets.com, promo code EOP10. Guys, Trey Hendrickson available. Who? Did Phil ditch it? What? Live on time today. Looks like he's doing his taxes. No, I pay somebody to do the taxes. That's too complex for my little tiny brain. I'm just an idiot that talks a lot. No tax. On a side note, I did almost get a minor in accounting back in the day when I was in college, but that's another story. Phillies lost last night. Yeah, you know, I could talk. I could spend a whole 90 minutes talking about the Phillies. I really could. Today is not the day to talk about the Phillies. Today is the day to maybe touch just a little bit on our Sixers, but mainly talk about the NFL draft tonight and our Philadelphia Eagles. And what will Howie Roseman do? Rumors abound, rumors floating everywhere. How you got every insider and every main name person out there with their different rumor. Some saying that Howie Roseman's going to trade up, some that he's going to trade back, some that he's targeting an offensive lineman, some that he's targeting a wide receiver. The massive amount of rumors out there are insane. All I can do and all I can impart on you is I don't have sources, first off. I tried to troll the internet yesterday. It didn't take off quite like I thought. Um, all I can do is when you say you want X or you think X should happen or X will happen, is look at the rumors through the glasses of the fact that this is not Howie Roseman's first rodeo. It's not Howie Roseman's first time in the NFL draft as a general manager. This is not his first time. And he's had so much history at this. Some very good, some very bad. But we can determine from his history what rumors have some substance to it and what rumors don't have substance to it. What's up, little G? Go Eagles, new era. I know everybody wants linebackers. I did a mock draft yesterday after the show. I think I put it out on social media. And I took the first linebacker for the Eagles in the 6th round, or maybe I didn't even take a linebacker. Do not be surprised that if linebacker isn't addressed, or if it is, it's very late in the draft. There's a very strong possibility that linebacker is not on Howie Roseman's quote-unquote big board of importance. A very, very strong chance of that. There's a very strong chance that a lot of Eagles Nation may be extremely upset or disappointed in the results when whatever happens tonight, when we do not trade up for Mitchell or Arnold, when we do not take Koopa DeJean at 22, there is going to be a lot of Eagles Nation that is disappointed. And it's a shame because I truly do blame all the mock drafters and all the armchair GMs, as I like to call them, for giving Eagles Nation false hope. And yes, the obvious answer is for the Eagles to take a cornerback early. But it's been over 20 years since the Eagles have done that in the first round. B, outside of the top two, Arnold and Mitchell, there is some form of a question mark on every single other one of them. Very rarely do those 20 through 30 pick in the draft cornerbacks become elite immediately. I don't know if it's necessary. And I don't know if you're getting the best value in that spot. I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Who Bird's taking? Well, we're going to find out. We're talking tonight is prime for Philly. Marshawn, I don't want to make this a negative show at all because I personally, there is very few things. We talked about it yesterday. What would disappoint you the most? There are very few scenarios tonight, in my opinion, that will disappoint me. Unless we massively overpay to trade up to get somebody, or unless they draft a tight end in that, or they trade up to get Brock Bowers. Outside of that, I don't see a scenario where I'm disappointed. And even then, if they trade up to get Brock Bowers, I don't know how disappointed I really would be. There's very few scenarios that should disappoint Philadelphia Eagles fans across the country, across the world. But everybody is so dead set that they have to draft a cornerback. And we spent a lot of time talking cornerbacks yesterday. We did. And the depth on this Eagles team, or lack thereof, or very mediocre depth. I don't know how we can ease the stress and anxiety of Eagles Nation going into tonight. Because like I said, there's a strong possibility with the 22nd pick in the NFL draft, the Eagles take offensive tackle or defensive end or wide receiver. All those words are very, 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 very possible. And Eagles Nation is going to freak the F out. It's the 11-year anniversary of the Eagles drafting Lane Johnson with the 4th or 5th pick, whatever it was. And I remember that because I got a Facebook memory that pops up this day every year. Me being excited, unlike the rest of Eagles Nation, about the pick. Dolphins had just traded above us to get DeJean Jordan, who everyone thought we were going to get. Everybody was disappointed because D. Milner was still on the board, an elite lockdown corner. But the Eagles went with the smart, safe pick in Lane Johnson. And look at it now, 11 years later, he's a sure bet Hall of Famer, been an anchor on our offensive line for the last 10, 11 years. Sometimes the not flashy move with that first round pick is the smartest pick there is. And let's keep going. Let's keep rolling through these comments. I do know everyone will be trying to get a tackle. There are a lot of good tackles in this draft. You might have one of 3 edge drop. There's a couple edges that I would have no problem with them taking. Chop Robinson, Latu, if he falls to 22, Verse, Turner. There's quite a few. One of them is going to fall. Between the Sixers, Eagles, and Phillies, be prepared for the outcome we are all too familiar with. And in Marshawn's words, that's disappointment, right? But see, I wouldn't be disappointed. How disappointed can anyone be with Bowers? Exactly. I mean, Philly Sports Alliance, I might have misspoke saying I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed depending on how much we traded to move up to get him, because there's no way he falls to 22. But how can you be disappointed? One of the most elite playmakers in this draft. Verse might be good. There's a lot of guys. Yeah, we're going to get into the Amon-Ra St. Brown here in a minute and his extension and how it just proves how elite Howie Roseman is. How Howie Roseman's playing chess while all the other GMs in the NFL are playing checkers. We about to draft Lane Johnson tonight. I said Lane. I did not misspeak. But just so you know, I was one of the few Eagles fans back then in 2013, whatever it is, that was actually okay with it. Because I've always understood, A, what the philosophy of the Eagles is, even all the way back then, but also understand what the right philosophy for building a team is. In 2013, we were in kind of a transitional phase. Getting an elite offensive tackle is important for the foundational structure of your football team. It really is. I think linebacker is 3rd pick at best. Yeah, I don't see everybody. I don't see the Eagles. Maybe, Big Al, like you're saying, with the 53rd pick. I find it very hard to imagine that the Eagles pick 22, 50, and 53. I think Howie is going to trade at least twice in those first 3 picks. So he's either going to trade up or trade back in the first round, and he's either going to maybe take 50 or 53 to move back to pick up a couple extra picks in the 3rd and 4th round. That's how I see it playing out. And linebacker, there's just no way that a linebacker is taken before 50 for the Eagles. It's just not going to happen. If they haven't done it before, and there's a much stronger chance of cornerback than linebacker. There's a much stronger chance that they take a punter at 50 before that. No, I'm just kidding a little bit there. D. Milner was an absolute bust, and I saw it then. And if you're not getting Arnold and you're not getting Mitchell, they're the only 2 I don't think have the chance to be bust. Why reach? Koopa. Are we guaranteeing that Koopa is this elite cornerback? He was originally listed as a safety. Now he's listed as a cornerback? I hate players that have that. I saw a report comparing Cooper DeJean to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a guy that is a slot safety corner mix, and it's kind of like, so he's a guy without a position, and we don't know where he'll settle. Are we really? We're literally on the cusp of another Super Bowl appearance, the Philadelphia Eagles. You need guys that are going to come in for sure and make an impact day one. And Koopa might not be that guy. Maybe Arnold is. Maybe Mitchell is. But that's it, cornerback-wise. No Chop. Yeah, a lot of people have soured on Chop Robinson. Absolutely. I think he could provide great depth on our defensive line rotation if he was the pick. I think 22 would be too early for him. If you trade back to 26, 27, 28, which I see a lot of mock drafters who mock irresponsibly do. Phil, any pizza places that can meet the needs of my draft party? Well, we're on DoorDash now. I think it still might be a little far for you out in Buffalo. But yeah, Cooper at 50, no matter what. Edrin Cooper or Cooper BB? There's two different Coopers here. And I every time I run a mock draft, I see that guard there in Cooper Beebe sitting there in that 50-53 range, and I find it very hard to not draft him if we don't draft offensive tackle in the first round. We also picked fourth overall in 2013. Absolutely agree. And yes, it is. The point I'm bringing up more with that is that it's smarter sometimes to take the sure thing, the foundational piece versus the risk. Okay, and there's a lot of risks. That's why I'm not trading. I see people saying they want to trade up for Latu. There's risk with Latu. Latu at 22, there might be some value there, but Latu trading up to 12 or 13 isn't. So you got to weigh the risk versus the reward on the trade ups for the players, the trade backs, and where they're at. The higher you draft the player, the more important that you don't miss, that they're more impactful. All those things are very important, all going into my opinion on this. Sorry, Dallas Turner, Hall of Fame Phil, don't want you. Did I say I don't want Dallas Turner? I didn't say that. We will get one of the outside line, the offensive line or quarterbacks, depending Mitchell, Arnold, or DeJean. Again, me personally, as a guy that values the trenches the most, I would prefer the offensive line. It just depends. I've seen Duck, and this is what concerns me. Trading up to 12 from 22 is going to cost a hell of a lot more than trading up to 15 or 16 to get one of these cornerbacks. And I don't know if I'm willing to part with, say, 50 and a third-round pick next year to move up a few spots. If you're going to do that, offer all that and call Denver for Patrick Surtain. At least you know what you're getting in Patrick Surtain. I said shot bust from Jump Street. You did. There's a lot of people souring, and I don't know why people are souring him. Don't touch Cooper with 10-foot. Which one? Cooper Beebe or Edrin Cooper? Big difference. Edge. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a stud. Like, oh my God. Stop. Everyone doing mock drafts. Yeah, stop. This is the last day. I'm so grateful. This is the greatest day of my life. Not because of the draft, but because after today, I don't have to see anybody put their mock draft 27.31 out there anymore. Mel Kiper goes away after this weekend for 6 months. 22, Teresa. Oh, trading up from 22, Teresa says. It just matters the cost. I have no problem with the Eagles trading up. None whatsoever. We just need to know the cost first. Latula, dude, not going to bust, but lower ceiling. It's just there's injury risk with Latu. That's it. That's the only concern I have. I don't like trading up for people with injury question marks. No risk, no. Yeah, yeah. Howie will adapt. He's gone wide receiver first before. I think DeJean will probably fall. I think there's a scenario, Duck, where if you really want Koopa DeJean, you might be able to trade back from 22. Trade back to 26 or 27 and still get him. I think that's a very, very real possibility. And in that case, that's fine. I would, again, literally all these names we're talking about, we're 20 minutes into the show already. Every name we've mentioned, I would not be disappointed in any of them. The only disappointment that would come is if the slot where they were picked or the trade up or the trade back didn't bring or give up too much value for. That's all that I try to look things very analytically in a value perspective. DeJean at 22, it's okay value. DeJean at 27, great value. Arnold at 15, great value. Arnold at 12, pretty expensive. That's all I'm looking at is that. And again, the hit rate, we've talked about the hit rate on positions yesterday. The hit rate on cornerback in the first round is not very good. And I bet you if you I didn't have time to do it yesterday. If you broke down cornerbacks taken in the top 10 versus cornerbacks taken after, say, like 15 or something like that, the hit rate's a big difference there. So it goes to show the top one or two, the hit rate's pretty good. It's the back end guys of the first round that don't hit all the time. Nothing to do with Jeremy Cooper, DeJean Chin. What? I don't get that one. DeJean can play a bit of outside, good nickel, can kick return. Yeah, there's definitely plenty of positives with Cooper DeJean. There really is. It's just, does he have it? He doesn't have a set position. Again, I believe like 3 months ago he was listed as a safety. Now he's listed as a cornerback. To me, that tells me the teams are already trying to change who he is. Way too much talent to trade up, except for quarterback or wide receiver, and that the quarterback and maybe wide receiver aspect of it is what helps the Eagles. If all these teams start trading up for quarterbacks, if J.J. McCarthy goes a little sooner than expected, or if somebody hears rumors that Bo Nix or Mike Penix might go before their pick in the late first, early second, somebody might trade up for that. There's a scenario where there could be 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round tonight. I don't think it's a smart idea for football teams, but there is. But that thinking helps the Eagles massively and a lot of other teams as well. Cooper DeJean would be a 5th round from me. I don't know about that. Facts. No need to trade up, Ernest. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of elite franchise cornerstone players in this draft, but there's a lot of really good quality players that could step in and fill a role and play day one. You get one of those edge rushers, they will immediately be part of the rotation, unlike Nolan Smith. And again, to me, defensive end edge rush is still a massive need on this team. Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, and Nolan Smith are not enough to give me confidence. Brandon Graham plays 20 plays a game max. Nolan Smith barely saw the field last year. Huff was the first year of success in his career, and he only played like 42% of the snaps, so we don't know how much he could play. And Josh Sweat had a major falling off last year, so much that he took a decrease in pay to stay here. So in my humble opinion, it's very, very important. And you could get a lot. You could trade back from 22, get more assets for later, and still get a really good defensive end in the first round that's going to play a role week 1 in Brazil. Actually, that's a great segue. The PhillySportsTrips.com. Check them out, PhillySportsTrips.com. If you're a fan and want to travel with your favorite team, travel with the best, travel with these guys right here. They feature premium travel packages and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever, Philadelphia sports fans. A self-travel package, full travel package, flights, hotels, bus trips, you name it. They got it. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com, sign up immediately, tell them EOP sent you, and of course, they've got a fantastic package going. I've seen some of the pictures online for Eagles in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers week 1 of the NFL season. So check them out. Or PhillySportsTrips.com. Let them know EOP and Trending in the EAM sent you. Back to the comments here. Because you have to have an elite cornerback with the new rules to help the offense. And that is fair. And you know what, Duck? This goes towards the Howie Roseman conversation. Howie Roseman tends to beat the league to the trends. Whether it's signing a guy to an extension before the market gets set, like Jalen Hurts, like Devonta Smith, which we'll talk about in a second. You know, realizing that the league's going to is slowly turning into a running league to an extent again. So getting big behemoths at defensive tackle like Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter, he beats people to the trends. And the trend is you're going to need an elite lockdown cornerback for a long time now with these new rules. I think that's tight. So maybe that scenario does encourage them to trade up to get Arnold or Mitchell, one of the top 2 cornerbacks in this draft class. Then you can also swap him to safety when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's contract up or when he's hurt. Cooper DeJean. I mean, because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson does miss time. He missed 6 games with the Eagles. He missed a boatload of games last year in Detroit. We're all upset that the Eagles did not draft Kyle Hamilton or Brian Branch. So having him be able to play both, you have literally 2 playable safeties on your team right now. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship, both who have injury. And then you have Tristan McCollum, and that's it right now. If Dallas Turner was sitting at 15, that is where you should pounce your few picks from both. Maybe. I don't know if I'm trading up for a defensive end. I really don't. It's all about containing Mahomes, your secondary. Well, that is true. So that's I hate when teams do that though. That they spend their whole offseason trying to pick players that'll just help them get over the one team that ended their season. But you see a lot of teams do that. I'm out on Cooper DeJean, says Fred Burns the third. Limited snaps and issues flipping the hips turned me away. That's more detailed than I know. What was the competition as far as quarterbacks faced as well? Sounds more like a special teams gunner, third or fourth cornerback. Now, that's a bold take. I mean, I don't watch millions of hours of tape like some of the other guys do out there, and a lot of the great people at Edge of Philly Sports got some talented guys that watch a lot of film. That's not me. I go off of what I read, what I see, and I agree. Again, I won't be disappointed if Cooper DeJean's the pick. I think there's better value at 22 than Cooper DeJean. I think you could do better. I think you could trade back and still get him. But we'll see how that plays out. But it's interesting. I like to see somebody bring something different to a very generally agreed upon. I mean, if we don't trade up, I bet you 90% of Eagles fans right now are hoping for Cooper DeJean. And Fred bringing in a different idea or thought into it. It's good. I like that. Chin is too slow to be cornerback. Chin who? We're not looking at Jeremy Chin. He's a free agent still. Not a good safety. What are we talking about here? Cooper is same. Oh, so we're comparing Cooper to that. Okay. Gotcha. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning. Make sure you hit that like button and give me any of your questions, thoughts, concerns about the draft. Not just Eagles either. You can give me any thoughts on the NFL draft because I got a lot of them. Because I think this draft class is going to be a massive bust for the quarterbacks. It's going to be a massive bust. So any thoughts on the draft, let me know. The new NFL for now, short passes and yak as defense built to contain. You're going to see a lot more short passes because you can't tackle. Short slant routes are going to get killed with the new hip drop tackle rule, for sure. The hip drop tackle is going to affect cornerbacks covering wide receivers running slant patterns, tight ends running across the middle. So shorter passes might be the name of the game going forward. That might not be your craziest thing. DeJean is not worthy of 22. They trade up for a tackle. I don't think I'm going to be happy. I trust Daniel Jeremiah. He is very, very in tune and very analytic with his thoughts and opinions. And if he says he hears something, if he says he thinks something's going to happen, I don't just take it with a grain of salt. My ears perk up when I hear Daniel Jeremiah say something. And he does say, I don't even know how to say it, Fuaga. I don't know if I'm saying that even remotely correct, but, just give me Cooper DeJean just because I know how to pronounce his name, please. Give me somebody in the first round that I can say their name regularly because Friday I'll be talking about them, and next week I'll be talking about them all week. So give me guys that I can pronounce the name properly of. Otherwise, you guys will just be mocking my terrible pronunciation nonstop. So there's different takes on the. Can I say this? Hold on. It's Terrion Arnold, right? Terrion Arnold. I think I could say that one. That one's a little more doable. But back on this, and I see more comments. I'll get to them in a second here. There's two scenarios on the offensive line in the first round. There's one scenario that says you don't take an offensive lineman because you've got an elite offensive line, and the soonest person you've got to replace, Lane Johnson, still has 2-3 years at a minimum. He said 26, but he's signed through 28. So you've got time there. Okay, that's side one. So you don't draft a future depth piece this far into the future in the first round. That's scenario one because you're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. Your Super Bowl window is open. So you go and get somebody like Arnold or somebody else that can help you win a Super Bowl this year. Scenario two is you've got to always think now, but you also got to think about the future. So having that replacement. Also, your offensive line. Jordan Mailata misses time occasionally. Landon Dickerson has an injury history. He hasn't missed games much in his Eagles career, but you always got to think about that. Cam Jurgens missed time last year. Tyler Steen, we don't know what we have. Lane Johnson misses time every single year. So getting an elite offensive lineman that can play multiple positions and be that floater for now, and then eventually step in to replace Lane Johnson, gives you that benefit of the doubt if somebody goes down that you're not going to skip a beat. Gone would be the days of Sewer Opeta and Jack Driscoll filling in. You go out and get Fuaga, and you got somebody much better that can fill in those moments when people go down. So there are the two different scenarios that could play out there. I predict Worry will be gone very soon. I know we're 12 hours. Honestly, I hope the Eagles trade up to like 1 overall, get their pick out of the way, and then I can turn into the Sixers and just be done with the draft for the rest of the night. But yeah, quarterbacks 1 or 2 will hit, maybe. Yeah, maybe 1 hits. I don't think more than 1. I still stand by it. Bearing any injuries, Bo Nix and Michael Penix will have better careers combined than Daniels and May. Caleb Williams is a toss-up. I think there's talent there. I just don't think he's mature enough to go to a team that's going to be starting him and making them their cornerstone from day one. That's just my opinion. They will trade the first-round pick for more picks. So Anthony's saying they're going to trade out of the first round completely? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I've run some mock drafts, and I do see that as an option from time to time when I'm running these mock drafts. That's going to just if Eagles Nation stays up all night till pick 22 and they trade back out of the first round, Eagles Nation's going to be pissed off. But again, me seeing the big picture, if they trade out, what do they get for it? If they get enough for it, then I have no problem with it. That'll be the scenario there. Eagles need to draft Cooper. Which Cooper? Edrin Cooper? Cooper Beebe? Again, I said it to somebody else that mentioned Cooper before. I think you don't have to reach for Edrin Cooper. There's other linebackers that you can get. I forget his full name. There's quite a few that you can get in that second or third round. Oh, that's right. We don't have a third round. We traded that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Good morning, Eric. How are you? It is draft day, round 1. And make sure you guys are tuned into Edge of Philly Sports. We got a great lineup of shows all week long. But tonight, as this thing says, starting at 7 p.m., we've got an all-star panel of cast going live for the entire NFL first-round draft, okay? Shane Haff, Mark Henry, Dave, Deebs, and I forget who the 5th person is. There's 5. Oh, and Ryan Reese. 5 guys going live tonight at 7 o'clock covering the draft, so make sure you're checking them out. Mitchie Pooh in the house. What is up, my man? Giants drafting J.J. McCarthy. Don't be surprised. Honestly, let me change what I said before. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and J.J. McCarthy will have a combined more successful career than Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jane McDaniels. Mark my words. You can clip that. You could bookmark it. You could save it. They will. Look, I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be great, and the Giants are a terribly run organization. They should go out and get an offensive lineman to protect Daniel Jones or a wide receiver. When I did my full first-round mock draft of the NFL yesterday, I put Joe Alt to the Cardinals and Marvin Harrison to the Giants, which I would hate because then we'd have to cover him for the next 4 or 5 years. But you still got Daniel Jones under 2 more years of that ridiculous contract. Just give him a chance, give him some talent around him, and see if he could do something. I mean, I doubt he could do something. He's lost his best player in Saquon Barkley. But yeah, but this would be interesting. That would be. I would be shocked if J.J. McCarthy went. What's that? 6? I got a mock draft board up here. Giants are 6. I would be shocked if he went that early. J.J. McCarthy, but guy's a national champion. I like Daniels if he could put on some weight. The Alabama cornerback would be a good fit. Yep, for sure. If you need cornerback, why would you trade back if you could? Because there's a lot of value in trading back. Who's watching the movie Draft Day? I honestly have never. I've seen a few reels from Draft Day. Pass through my Facebook and Instagram reels, but I've honestly never watched Draft Day. Never watched that. Trouble with the Curve. I've never watched straight through Moneyball. None of them. The shows without Phil, yeah, no thanks. What? Sorry, I could join the draft show if I wanted to, probably, but I can't. I can't do draft show tonight and then jump. No, 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 no. I'm going to chill out on the couch and watch the draft and NBA Sixers game. I got a feeling we are going to get an O lineman. What do we need most, a corner or a safety? I can't keep up. I know we have a bunch of one, and we have 7 cornerbacks on the roster. 7 very average to unproven cornerbacks on the roster. We have 2.5 safeties on the roster, half because Tristan McCollum is a practice squatter, in my opinion, but he's on the roster right now. You've got Reed Blankenship, and you've got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That's it. So Cooper DeJean's a perfect fit because he can play cornerback, he can play slot, he can your slot corners are always injured, and he can play safety. So there is that scenario where Cooper DeJean does fit that need, but I just don't know if it's the right move. Itchy. Yep, Giants love him. Yeah, I did not know that. I've not heard that. Well, if Harrison falls to Giants, then they would take him. Yeah, I see, and see, Fred. I don't see when I did my first round mock draft for the NFL. I didn't do it because I think he's going to fall to the Giants. I did it if I was the GM. Okay, and if I'm the GM of the Cardinals, you still got Kyler Murray. I still think Kyler Murray's a bust. I still think Kyler Murray sucks, but you still got Kyler Murray, and you got invested in him. And what's the best friend? The 2 best friends of a quarterback in the NFL are not elite wide receivers. It's a great left tackle and it's a tight end. And you want to keep Kyler Murray upright. He's gotten hurt before. You get the best lineman in the draft and you protect him. Everyone keeps saying give him Marvin Harrison Jr. They can't throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's always running for his life. You need to get the elite offensive line before you get the wide receiver. That's what the Eagles do. I mean, the Eagles have had the offensive line, then added the weapons to Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. Wow, we're at 37 minutes already. TMC, you trade back if you see that there are 3 or 4 of those guys you want, and yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000% agree with this one right here. You trade back. How will Washington screw this up? Great movie, Mitch. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I think Washington's in a really tough spot right now, Fred. Um, it's gotta suck to be sitting there and at 2, knowing Caleb Williams is on paper the most talented quarterback in this draft, and you've got to choose between May and Daniels. Is it Daniels or McDaniels? It's Daniels. I keep saying McDaniels because of McCarthy. When you're sitting there at 2, and you've got to decide between May and Daniels or McCarthy, and there's so many question marks around all 3 of them. It makes things very, very, very difficult. They screwed up by going offensive lineman or wide receiver or something. But man, or they go and take Bo Nix or something like that right there. That would be screwing it up. That's what I take from trading back. It's risky, but you're more or less hedging your pick. You are. And you pick up, look, we got 50 and 53. Then we go from 53 to 120. Right now, draft wise, almost 80. What's that? 47, 67 picks without getting to choose somebody. So you trade back, you pick up some more picks in the 2nd or 3rd round. You give yourself more depth, give yourself more option. Which Cooper? Everyone keeps saying Cooper. There's multiple Coopers in this draft. A lot of Coopers. No, I must typed wrong. Why wouldn't you trade back? Oh, okay. It makes sense to trade back. It definitely does, depending on how the board. I don't think Howie. We've seen Howie in the past, make his moves before the draft starts. I think this draft is more slotted where he is going to have. He's got trade proposals set up with 8 different teams trading up, trading back, and what he is going to do is watch the first 10 picks, watch the first 11 picks, see how the board's falling, see if someone jumps up like the Giants and takes J.J. McCarthy, as Fred suggests. And then as those things happen and players start to slide, things like, oh, I got a chance for Arnold. All right, I got this trade right here. Oh, I think I can get Mitchell at this spot. All right, we'll make this call and make this deal. Or all these guys are falling. Let's just stay pat and then trade back. He is literally going to have 7 to 10 different scenarios ready to go depending on how the first hour of the draft goes. Everyone keeps talking about the window of winning. So why is there talk of an offensive line pick in the first round? And I did say this earlier. There's two different scenarios. One, you think of the future, but B, you got a window open. You need a guy that can come in day one and be either at a minimum, if it's a defensive edge rusher, be part of the rotation day one, unlike Nolan Smith last year, or be a starting quarterback. You do need that if you want to pounce on this window. That's why Matty B, I don't even want the cornerback. I'm trading 22, 50, or 53, a future pick, and I'm going and getting Patrick Surtain because you've got the window open now. Patrick Surtain on this defense takes us from being a good defense to an elite defense immediately. You maximize your window. I'm all for trading or getting a playmaker or an elite person that is going to keep that not just keep the window open long term, but get us through that window. The window's open on the second floor. You're trying to sneak back in. That's like the Super Bowl. We were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That window's open on the second floor. You got to climb up that little lattice on the side of the house and try to sneak in the window to get back to the Super Bowl. So what do? Instead of climbing up that rickety ladder, you go out and get a brand new ladder that's not going to fall. You go out and you get yourself through that window by getting someone that's going to make a statement. The thing is, though, you got to think not what we want or what we think should happen. What does Howie? And Howie loves offensive linemen in the first round. He does. So we'll see. I'd be more interested, Maddie, in Howie Roseman. What we got? Like 160, 171, 172. We got like 3 picks in like a 13-pick span. Give me 2 tackles or a tackle and a guard there. Use 2 of those 3 picks on offensive linemen. Let them go to Stoutland University and learn for 2 or 3 years. And hopefully one of those 2 or 3 guys turns into a serviceable guy. Or, do you really need Lane Johnson's replacement 3 years before? Like, we thought we had Lane Johnson replacement in Landon Dickerson, or Jason Kelsey's replacement, but Jason Kelsey decided to play 2 more years. So we lucked out that Landon Dickerson took over for Sayamalu at left guard and became one of, if not the best left guard in football. We lucked out there. But we don't have that luxury of needing to draft somebody's future replacement and then, they didn't work out, so we'll slot them somewhere else. Howie threw away a third just to send a message to Hurts. Yeah. Howie manipulates that cap like Tony Stark. Yeah. Howie is I know you hate him. I know. And I used to be in that ballpark, but I have learned to give him the benefit of the doubt. I have. Howie Roseman makes a lot of smart decisions nowadays. And the fact that we're consistently one of the best teams in football. We never go through a really long losing stretch of seasons. Rebuilds happen immediately under him. He's had a lot of success. Will Hurts become next Allen, working about how many mansions and tail chick? No. Totally different people. Totally different people there. Why would Smith agree to that? Why are you talking to Devonta Smith? All right. So this is again where Howie Roseman is not a fraud, according to Matty B. This is where Howie Roseman is an elite GM again, beating everybody to the punch. Yesterday, the Detroit Lions locked up 2 of their cornerstones, Penny Sewell to a huge contract, and Ross St. Brown, the next elite wide receiver to sign. Okay? Signed a 4-year, I think it was like a $130 million contract extension, $77 million guaranteed. 4 years, $130 million. And Ross St. Brown is worth it. You still got Chase, Jefferson, and a couple other elite wide receivers that are due for extension soon. Devonta Smith, a couple weeks ago, signed a 3-year, $75 million extension, plus the 5th-year option. So it really comes out to be like a 4-year, $90 million contract. So the distance between St. Brown and Devonta Smith in skill level, success, et cetera, it's very minimal. But Howie Roseman got Devonta Smith locked up for the next 4+ years at a price of $40 million less than Ross St. Brown. If anything, if I was an agent of a player, I was an agent of a player that played for the Eagles, I wouldn't let Howie Roseman do his thing and lock us up. I'm like, oh, just wait for your time. Wait, let the other people set the market. But Howie Roseman, he knows how to maneuver and work these players, and he gets them locked up before the market is set. The same thing happened with Landon Dickerson. It was the highest, and then it wasn't. Jalen Hurts, he's now what, the 5th or 6th highest paid quarterback? Like, he was only the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for 3 minutes, I think it was. If I was Smith, I would say triple that and we could talk. Well, he already signed it. We got somebody spamming our comments on Facebook with somebody else's link. So we're just going to delete that comment and delete that comment. Please do not spam the comments with links to your shows. That is unnecessary. All the listeners out there, don't listen to the Howie Elite propaganda. He is a contract guy, not a football guy. He is a fraud. Fire Howie. Were you saying this after they won the Super Bowl? Were you saying this when they went back to the Super Bowl in 2022? And honestly, I won't lie. I think the theory that his best attribute is a financial contract numbers guy is total fugazi. I don't think it's true. I think his reading a room, his trading, the ability to trade up, trade down the draft, trade for players, negotiate, get the most out of other GMs, I think that's just as elite as his contract negotiation. Now, there are things I still wish Howie would do or be better at. Hands off, game day rosters, those things. I wish he didn't, go and tell Doug Peterson how to pass the ball more versus running after a victory. I wish he was a little more hands off on the game planning and the assistant coaching picking and stuff like that. But you know what? Results speak. And we've been to 2 Super Bowls in the last, 8 years. We've won a hell of a lot of football games. We've made the playoffs. Let's see, since the Carson Wentz era began in 16, we made the playoffs in 17, 18, 19 with the Super Bowl victory. Missed in 20. Made the Super Bowl made the playoffs in 21, 22, and 23. So we made the playoffs in 6 of the last 7 years under Howie Roseman with 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl victory. Yeah, exactly, Eric. If I didn't know who Matty B was, I would believe that it is Dan Simpleman or Dan Sillyman's burner account. Really would. You can go into any fan bases and ask who's best GM universally. Howie is universally, regarded as one of the best, without a doubt. So there's definitely an agenda from Matty B on the Howie Roseman. But what I will say, and I see a comment, I'm not even going to read the comment yet. I will say, before I read whatever he responds to what I said, I will say I give Matty B credit for sticking to his guns. Me, I flip-flop. When I used to say fire Howie Roseman, I don't say that anymore. So I give him credit for sticking to his guns, sticking to his laurels. So why isn't the GM of the Chiefs the best GM? Yeah, I mean, I didn't say he wasn't the best GM. I didn't say Howie was number one. I said Howie was one of the best. And the Chiefs GM, I can't even name the Chiefs GM off the top of my head. Someone will name it, and I'll be like, damn it, I knew that. Yeah, I mean, you give him credit. He just locked up Andy Reid, I think, to an extension, too. You go out and get the best head coach available. I don't know if he was still the GM at that point. You got Andy Reid. You go out, you get Patrick Mahomes, and you keep building. You trade away Tyreek Hill, and you go on to win more Super Bowls. You got if you're going to rank them, if you're going to rank team success on whether you're a good GM or not, the Chiefs GM has to be number one. There's no doubt that at all. Guys, we got great sponsors here at Trending in the AM and Edge of Philly Sports, so I just want to shout out another one of them real quick. Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work or in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, call David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get you what you deserve. A dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you've been seriously injured in the state of PA by negligence by another, or if you have any questions even, just call him. Westchester Immediate Personal Injury Attorney, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David Archerry fight for your rights. Again, 610-565-0300 or cherryinjurylaw.com. Let him know EOP and Trading the AM sent you. And back to the comments here. Traded up with Bills to get Mahomes was not the worst move. Could you imagine? All the teams that passed up on Patrick Mahomes, all the GMs that passed up on Patrick Mahomes, what they got to be thinking like. And it's not like they've had the best team on paper every year, but when you have the best quarterback in maybe ever, when it all comes down and said and done, Patrick Mahomes will be the number one quarterback of all time, in my opinion. I've already said it. I've never been shy of saying it, that Patrick Mahomes is already a top 5 quarterback in the NFL history. And he's, 28, 29 years old only? And he's already one of the 5 best of all time, barring any catastrophic injury. Patrick Mahomes is going to break every record. He'll play for another 10 years. He'll probably win 3 or 4 more Super Bowls. God damn. Could you imagine? Just about 12 hours to go, Jake. Yes, that is right. Till we see a first-round corner for the first time in 22 years. You are willing it into existence. I like that. I like how you're willing your hopes into existence. That's what I like to see. We'll see. 12 hours from now, I think the draft first pick's at 8 o'clock. I don't think we'd be let's pick 22. About 2 hours into the draft. So about 10 o'clock, we'll see the Eagles, unless they trade up. I would love for them to trade up. The sooner they trade up, the sooner I can go to bed. If they trade back, that's just going to annoy me even more because I'm going to have to stay up even later, for sure. Motor accident? What is that? Motor. I got the Delco accent. You got to know the Delco accent. It's motor, okay? A car crash is in the lake. He top 3 now, easy. Top 3 of all time for Patrick Mahomes? Tom Brady's still the GOAT for me. Peyton Manning, maybe? No, I don't. It's so hard to rank the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. But right now, yes, without a doubt, Patrick Mahomes is in that category. And you can make an argument for top 3 already of all time. Let's test your NFL knowledge. Do you know who was the first team to represent the AFC in the first Super Bowl? I should know this. Was it the Chiefs? I think it was the Chiefs in the first Super Bowl. I know they were in a couple of the first few. I think it was the Chiefs in the first Super Bowl, right? I want to say the Chiefs. My answer, I'm not a great trivia person. Don't ever ask me to be your trivia contest partner unless it's about cheesy 80s TV shows, more specifically the A-Team. Or give me a James Bond trivia. But outside of that, I'm very, very bad at trivia. I'm guessing it was the Kansas City Chiefs based off of the topics. Yeah. Based off of what we're talking about, it kind of like segued and gave it away to me, but, it is what it is. Mr. Who number 2? Easy, Elway, Montana. For Tarkenton is not in the top 5. Sorry. But yeah. What time are we going to get this information tonight? Is it going to be about 10 o'clock? Will Howie see? We've seen Howie make the moves before the draft starts. I don't think that will happen. But again, what we were talking about Howie-wise before we got sidetracked there was about how smart he was getting Devonta Smith locked up. And again, I think the Lions, whoever's run the Lions, you can't put him in the top 2 or 3 of all time yet. You can't do that. Or top 2 or 3 of currently in the NFL. But he had a fantastic draft last year, and now is locking up his core cogs, at Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penny Sewell long term. Whoever's running the organization in Detroit right now is doing an excellent, excellent, excellent job. Broadway Joe, I don't remember. Number 2 quarterback. What I don't understand what you're asking there, Mister. I'm getting the side screen set up. I'm going to run a mock draft. We'll see how this goes. If you were Howie for tonight, what's your move? I've said it a bunch of times. If I am Howie Roseman, I've got 7 to 10 scenarios with options laid out for trades, trading up or trading back. Depending, to me, if I'm Howie Roseman, I am not jumping the gun like he has done in the past before the draft happens. He's made moves to trade up and back before the draft. Me, I'm waiting. I'm waiting until at least the first 10 picks, and I'm hitting pause draft, and I'm looking at all the scenarios laid out in front of me. Okay? And that's where I'm going from. And again, I keep saying it. I don't think there's a scenario that plays out that will totally piss me off tonight. That there's nobody that he could take that will make me mad. But it depends if you want to win now or build for the future. If you're in the win now mode, you trade up and you get Arnold or Mitchell. Or you trade that pick with more assets for Patrick Surtain. If I'm Howie, I'm trading for Patrick Surtain right now and calling the night, taking the night off. If I was Howie Roseman and I was really all in, I would pull a Mike Ditka from the draft. What year was it when he traded everything to move up to get Ricky Williams? And I still remember, and I don't know if it was on ESPN or NFL Network or whatever channel, and you got Mike Ditka in a Hawaiian shirt, smoking a big fat cigar, thinking he just won the Super Bowl because he got Ricky Williams. That would be me. I'd be trading everything, get Patrick Surtain in here, lock up another Super Bowl appearance, and take the night off. That's what I would do. That's not a realistic expectation, though. They will go out and get a cornerback most likely. That seems like the most likely scenario. Daniel Jeremiah, very smart guy, thinks they trade up for an offensive lineman. I trust his opinion, so that puts that on the table. But if it's me, Jose, you make the big, bold move. Arnold, Mitchell, or trade up for Fuaga. Anything else is a failure. You're going to have to trade up for all three of them. So it's not trade up for Fuaga. It's trade up for all three of them. None of those three guys will be there at 22. Jameson, McGowan, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're hitting that like button, that share button. Wherever you're watching, guys. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports. Oh, that's the second day in a row. The mid-time, the mid-reset. I messed up. You're watching Trending in the AM on Edge of Philly Sports. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow button wherever you are watching. Make sure you get interactive. We got 30 minutes left of the pre-draft show here. And again, make sure you're tapped in to Edge of Philly Sports because live at 7 o'clock, all-star panel, 5 fantastic gentlemen going to give you hours of draft coverage tonight. So make sure you tune in. You're going to have to trade up for all three of these guys. Okay? And I don't know if you don't get these three guys, it's a failure. I know it won't make everybody happy, but there's a lot of other names that would make me very content. Mahomes, Brady, Elway. Maybe Brady's ahead of Mahomes right now. When in doubt, just draft offensive lineman. I was trying to think really quickly in my head a way to make that rhyme. When in doubt, yeah. I mean, you can't lose. As long as you get an offensive lineman that can play in the NFL, it's never a bad pick. It just never is. Still not sure who I'd prefer between Terrion and Quinion. They're 1A and 1B. Yeah. If I had a pick, and again, I don't know the answer to this question, I would be looking for the best island, like the best guy that's not the best tackler per se, the best coverage guy. Who covers? Who's got tighter coverage? Who breaks up more passes? Who gives the receiver the least amount of space to make the catch? Who high points a ball well? Who attacks the ball well? Because in this day and age, it's almost impossible for cornerbacks to tackle Jake, especially now with the new hip drop tackle rule change. So in my scenario, whichever one of those two is a better cornerback that covers better, not tackles better, covers better. Because tackling is going to be a moot point at some point here. Although I do think the hip drop tackle rule change will be altered at some point because there's going to be 27 hip drop tackle calls every single game. K1, what is up, my man? How you doing? We are less than 12 hours from the NFL draft start. Took you long enough, I know. Exactly. Disappointed, Core 12. Traffic sucks yet. Well, dude, I got this great new ride to work here. So we're at my old house, which we're officially moved out of now, all stuff out of it, to our new house here. Same mileage, 12 miles to work every day. There's a 5-minute difference because my old ride was straight highway driving. This is all back roads. The problem with back roads is it's great picturesque viewing. I drive by a waterfall, all this stuff from Coatesville to Kennett. But when you're in these narrow 1.5 lane roads, because some of the roads aren't even wide enough for 2 cars, and you get stuck behind someone going 22 miles an hour, it sucks. Sucks Sucks. The other day, it took me almost 30 minutes to do a 20-minute ride to work because someone was driving 22 miles an hour the whole way. Brady, Montana, Mahomes, Hurts. I love it. I love it. Oh, that's a good list. I love it. And got it that I missed that cherry read. Yeah, you missed it. Good for you. Good for you. Philly, serious question. How many more Super Bowl wins till he surpassed Mahomes? Don't help Brady did defeat him. What till Mahomes passes Brady? I don't know. I don't even know if it's any more Super Bowl wins. It's just staying consistently great. You want Philly? Yeah, let's do it. That's right. That's right. Caleb Williams is going to be a bust. Jameson, this might. Don't hate me for saying this. I don't know if I've ever seen you comment on trending in the AM before. This is only the fourth day on Edge of Philly Sports. I've been doing this show for almost 3 years now. But I've been saying this from I probably mentioned this for the first time in about October that I think he's going to be a bust because he's landing in a bad organization, because he's not mature enough to handle the pressure of being the number 1 overall pick and being shoved right in to that franchise cornerstone position. He's a guy that needs to sit behind someone for 2-3 years, learn how to be a pro, mature, grow up a little bit. He's not. He's going to bust out. He's not going to be this elite guy. With all our picks, a tight end would be valuable knowing that DG gets injured. Look, I know he signed CJ Uzma or whatever his name is, but yeah, I'm still on board saying tight end 2 is still an upgradable need right now on this team. Brock. I would love Brock Bowers just solely so I could go find a way to hire Paul Heyman to come out and say, Eagles tight end, Brock Bowers. That's all. It doesn't sound the same as he says, Koopa. No. Brock Bowers. That's all. That's all. I want Brock Bowers solely for Paul Heyman to say his name in Philly. Phil was only 4 minutes late. I wasn't late for anything. I was on time today. This show started spot on at 8 a.m. So don't be giving me none of that BS. Let's go. That's right. Anyone going to the Bears is certified bust. Exactly. And again, this is more general draft talk. But I feel this about so many athletes, or so many football players. At what point does it become so if you're picked 1 overall, quarterback or not, you're expected to step in and be an elite, asset to the team immediately. If you're a quarterback, start immediately. At what point does that stop? 2, 3? Anybody in the top 5 for sure? Top 10 probably. At what point does it fall off where if you pick a player at X point, you don't have to force them into the starting lineup immediately? Well, quarterback to the Bears at 1 overall, you're getting set up to fail immediately. Bears quarterback destroyers. They still should have Justin Fields, and they should have traded that pick to somebody else for Caleb Williams. If I was the GM of the Bears, I would have kept Justin Fields, and I'm not a Justin Fields fan. I don't think he's that good, but I know what he is. I would have kept him, traded that pick, gotten a haul of picks this year and future picks, played out another year, developed my team, let the new coach develop the culture there, and then next year go out and trade up and get that number 1 overall pick and get whatever quarterback you want. But there's no culture. There's no system in place in Chicago. It's all going to be on him, and it's going to fail. Hold on, Speed Racer. You need to play before you go kill him. Yeah. When I saw him going back at trolls on Twitter, I knew he'd stink. I love that he can have Jalen, that we have Jalen. He's absolutely agree. Difference between Jalen coming out of the draft even. Jalen was more mature his sophomore year of college at Alabama than Caleb Williams is now as the number 1 overall pick in the draft. You want that maturity. You want your franchise cornerstone to be a guy that's going to represent your team well. Caleb Williams, to me, if one thing goes wrong, Caleb Williams is going to be like the next Jalen Reagor, getting bullied on social media, barking back, deleting his social media, reinstating it, deleting it again after he says something stupid. He's just not there. Now, again, I would feel much more confident if Caleb Williams was going to a team that was going to draft him and sit him for even a year. Hell, even 10 weeks of the year. Again, I always look back to what the Eagles did with Don McNabb. bringing in Doug Peterson. I think before they even drafted Donovan McNabb, knowing they were going to draft Donovan, brought in Doug Peterson, told Donovan, you're going to sit till you're ready. Not just physically, but mentally. He sat 10 weeks, and say what you want about his career, but he had a successful career in Philadelphia. Not the success we wanted. He didn't get us a Super Bowl, but that's another whole subject for another day. But the city, you look at Aaron Rodgers, sat for 3 or 4 years behind Brett Favre, became a top 10 all-time quarterback by sitting, learning, not being forced into something he wasn't ready for. I go back to Carson Palmer, had a questionable career of success level. I think that was more injury related. He blew out his knee. But Cincinnati drafted him number 1 overall back in whatever year that was, early, mid-'90s. Sat him for the entire first year and kept losing. Let him learn how to be a pro. And if it wasn't for those knee injuries, he might have had a better career. Caleb Williams is going to fail because he is going to be forced into the limelight immediately. And he's not ready for it. Yeah. So we don't even have to just ask the guests. We have to ask the new commoners their thoughts on Goodfellas or Godfather. If we draft Bowers, there would finally be a good Brock. Yeah, he'd be the best Brock to ever play. Yeah, because Brock Lesnar was a terrible NFL player. I don't even think Brock Lesnar ever made it onto an active roster. I know he's a preseason guy multiple times. Roman Reigns, too, was. Roman Reigns was really good at Georgia Tech for a while. Goodfellas. Yeah, Goodfellas. The best. Zeke is with Cowboys. Actually, back to this for a second. I saw a report from some gangster, or an interview with some gangster. I don't even know why it popped up on my timeline, but they were talking about it and how fake Henry Hill was in that movie and how not realistic Henry Hill was in that movie. That's legit. Yep, that's right. In his defense, he liked 20. Absolutely. And I was just talking with somebody. My man Adam Mack covers the Phillies for AET Sports. He was in the pizza shop yesterday. Shout out to my man. Check out Adam Mack. He does great work covering the Phillies and the Iron Pigs. Really great dude. And we were talking about stupid stuff that we used to do when we were kids with fake IDs and stuff like that. Yeah, Caleb Williams is a kid, but no 20-year-old should be given the keys to a NFL franchise. You're not ready at 20, but he's going to be put in that position, and he's going to make mistakes. And the Bears obviously proved that they're not willing to wait for you to mature because they gave up on Justin Fields already. Number 5 will always love you. I will always love Donovan, too. Donovan's my guy. Post-playing career, Donovan's a D-bag. But during his playing career, I don't think Donovan McNabb got nearly enough love for how good he was. Now I'm living in a van down by the river. Yeah. One of the greatest recurring characters in Saturday Night Live history. Without a shadow of a doubt. If Howie stayed out of game planning, worked hand in hand with the coaches and scouting department, he'd be the best GM of all time. I said this earlier when we were talking with Matty B. Matty B thinks he's a fugazi. Yeah, if he stayed out of game planning, I don't know if it's still true, but I know under the Doug Peterson era, Doug Peterson didn't even get to pick who was dressing on game day. Howie Roseman would do it. Who was inactive, he would pick, not Doug Peterson. If he still does it, that's the kind of stuff that I don't like about Howie Roseman. But Howie Roseman, the drafter, Howie Roseman, the cap wizard, Howie Roseman, the trade guy, spot on. Off topic. But preseason would give us a better look at McKee. I think he's a diamond in the rough and good enough. Well, Jose, we're backtracking to a conversation I had 300 years ago about the Kenny Pickett trade. And remember, we would have 3 picks or 4 picks in the top 100 versus top 120 if we didn't make that Kenny Pickett trade. Whatever. Well, I don't want to relive that. But yes, Kenny Pickett is going to be your quarterback 2 now, not Tanner McKee. And you also got Will Grier too. But Tanner McKee now has to split preseason reps with guys like Kenny Pickett, who's got to learn the system, and Will Grier, who's going to be a camp arm, but not whatever. But McKee, yeah, I think he would have been fine as our quarterback too. I really do. Because honestly, if Jalen Hurts goes down for a long period of time, it doesn't matter who's quarterback too. Kenny Pickett ain't going to save the season if Jalen Hurts goes down for a long stretch of time. You're never going to survive unless you're in the NFL period if your quarterback misses more than 1 or 2 games. So you could have saved that pick, and then you would have had, 95 or 98 versus 120. Big difference there. when all says done. I'm expecting a team to trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr. You think, Jameson, that Arizona won't take him at 4 or would trade back and not take him there? Because every report I hear is it's almost a sure thing. The only to get him away from Arizona, I almost feel like you would have to trade up with, you know, trade all the way up to New England at 3, which I actually could see that a team trading up with New England to 3, and then New England get a quarterback later in the first round. But I think you would have to trade all the way up to 3 to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Because all indications are if he's there at 4, the Cardinals are taking him, which I think is a mistake. I think they should go offensive lineman, but that's just me. Now I'm thinking about I don't get to the Pickett trade other than now I'm thinking about I don't get the Pickett trade other than a reclamation favor for somebody. Okay, so I had to read that twice to understand what you're saying there. I get it. I don't. Duck, I didn't like it from second one. I got crushed all over social media telling me that 22 pick difference, because we basically traded 98 for Kenny Pickett and 120, and 22 spots is no big deal. It is a big deal. It's a massive deal. And I don't understand it either. And I don't get it. And I still don't get it. Everyone's saying, oh, well, it's because so when somebody goes down in camp, they could trade Pickett to that team. No. You don't trade for a player just to trade him 3 weeks later. It just doesn't make sense. Remember when Jalen looked like he tore his ACL versus the Jets? I swear he was hurt for most of last year. Yeah, honestly, Jameson, there was a play, and man, my brain is fried from this move and life in general over the last couple of weeks. But there was a play at some point in week 1 against New England where I said he got hurt. And and he took a hit. And I honestly think that he got hurt in week 1. And then it got further injured against the Jets. And I think he also got banged up against the Rams. But he played through it. The goal should be, and hopefully the goal is with Kellen Moore's new offense and new offense game plan. And we'll start talking more about what would we want this offense and defense to look like after we see the draft this weekend and know more about what our roster will look like, which the offseason's not over now either. I always make fun of people for their 500 mock drafts, but I make fun of them for their 553-man roster predictions. But you want to keep Jalen Hurts as healthy as possible by running as little as possible, by protecting him. Offensive lineman. That's an argument for offensive lineman. Howie will get a second rounder for Pickett in a couple of years. I don't think so. Because in a couple of years, he won't even be on this team. Because I think he's going in he's only got 1 more year left on his contract after this. So if he's going to trade him for a second, it better be after this season. They're not going to pick up his 5th-year option and pay him 5th-year option money to be a backup quarterback. At least I don't think so. You would have to give up all your picks for 2 years for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't even know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is that elite or not. Just because it was just so assumed that he was going to the Cardinals, I haven't even looked at his film or tape. The hype's been there with him, but can't guarantee that he's worth it. But we'll see. Neighbors probably. I've seen some other people say that as well. I don't know. Moving definitely. Oh, dude, I am still. We had a couple things that we couldn't fit into our cars left at the house. So I went last night, got my wife's seats in the back of her Tahoe were there. The vacuum cleaner and the carpet shampooer were still there. I went and got it, walked out of my old house. We lived there for over 7 years. And I'm so glad to be out of that rental. And but I loved it too, to an extent. I'm so glad to own my own home finally for the first time in my life. Only took 43 years, but I'm here. But 7+ years of memories. It's where my Decker passed away, my first dog. So many memories. I adopted 2 more dogs in that house, started fostering in that house. So much. I started podcasting in that house. I walked into the office of the old house and, where the jerseys used to hang, and it's just so bare in there. And I got a little emotional last night. I won't lie. I might be this arrogant, pain in the ass, sarcastic SOB. I said that to my wife last night. It's sad moving out of this house. It's happy, but it's sad. A lot of memories there. A lot of things changed in my life in that house. So, it sucks. And my body is sore. I can't stand up straight. My calves hurt like crazy. My thighs, I think I tore both my quads. It sucks. It does. I would take McCaffrey with a late 4 to 5 pick. I think you said that yesterday, too. That covers you big-bodied wide receiver with good hands. Okay. I'm upset we didn't sign a free agent wide receiver like KJ Osborne. Who's our wide receiver 3? This goes into the theory that we talked about yesterday, Jameson, that don't be shocked if there is somebody else. I know Daniel Jeremiah is saying trading up for an offensive lineman. There are people out there, some big name people. Some are legit, some aren't. I would say that they're going to trade up for a wide receiver. You need a wide receiver 3. You cannot assume Paris Campbell or Devontae Parker can play that role. I mean, and Britt Covey, they never give him a chance. So don't be shocked if one of those first 3 picks that we take is a wide receiver. Don't be shocked if a wide receiver falls. I forget which one. I got a draft board up on the side screen. Just offense, wide receiver. We've seen a lot of mocks where someone like Brian Thomas Jr. falls. You get him in the first round. Someone like Xavier Worthy or, or Leggett, or is it Leggett or Legat, drops to them in the second round. There is an extreme need for a wide receiver 3 and a tight end 2 right now on this team. And that brings those things. I know we all want quarterback. Don't be disappointed, Eagles Nation, because that doesn't happen. Don't be disappointed. Because there's a very strong chance that there are skilled position players taken with 1, 2, or 3, our first 3 picks. I didn't want to mention until you said you were done, but moving below, it does. We're done now. Keys turned into the landlord this morning. We're done. We're out. Thank God. Phil, I honestly, people don't realize I'm a very sensitive, emotional guy. I don't mind crying. People think people see this personality. People at the pizza shop see the personality there. I was joking with somebody yesterday. I have 3 personalities. I got the real me. I got the podcast personality, the YouTube personality, the social media personality, and then I've got the pizza shop personality. It's called my customer service voice. Oh, hi. This gets me on a side note. All right, so we're gonna bring a new segment in the show. We only got 15 minutes left here in the show. We might have to go 2 or 3 minutes overtime. So I'm gonna bitch about the pizza shop once in a while on this show from now on. Check me out, Fox's Pizza in Kennett Square, foxespizza.com, 345 Scarlet Road. It's my pizza shop. It's where I am at 6 or 7 days a week, 60, 70 hours a week. Come on out, have a slice of pizza with me, talk sports in person. But I got a customer service voice. It's my different personality. And reason 107.2 why I hate owning a business. Yesterday, a lady came into the pizza shop, stands at the counter. I'm like, hello, good afternoon. Did you order yet? No, I'd like to place an order now. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what can I get for you? I'll take a large, regular hoagie. I'm like, okay, what kind of hoagie? A regular hoagie. Well, which one? Well, I want it regular. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what you mean. We've got ham, turkey, Italian, roast beef, meatball, club, BLT, a cheesesteak hoagie, meatball parmesan. There's lots of options. Well, I want the regular one. I'm like, well, which one is the regular? I'm like an Abbott Costello routine here. And then she had the gall to look at me and say, is there someone else that works here that actually knows what they're doing? And can you go get them for me? I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm the only one here right now. And there is no such thing as a regular hoagie. You got to give me more details. Well, hold on. So she put someone on speakerphone on her phone. This guy doesn't know what a regular hoagie is. Can you tell him what you want? I want a regular hoagie. Isn't there someone else there? So not only did I get yelled at by the customer, I got yelled at by the person that the customer called on her speakerphone because I didn't know what a regular hoagie is. Now, it turns out, long story short, that a regular hoagie is an Italian hoagie with provolone cheese, double extra onions, hot banana peppers, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, and oil. That is what a regular hoagie is. Who knew? But man, I was fired up after that yesterday. So I deal with a lot of annoying scenarios like that at the pizza shop. Once every couple of days, maybe once a week, I'm going to bring in some of my pizza shop stories into the show because I can teach you guys something. That all you need to do, if you want an Italian hoagie with double extra onions, hot peppers, mayonnaise, and oil, is go in and order a regular. And that's what you're going to get, supposedly. Phil has a big hot, what? I don't even know what that means. If you got worth it, complaining, we taking a wide receiver day 2, book it. I would not be shocked at all. Worthy would be great. Absolutely a possibility. Bonus coverage is good value. Yeah, it is. Do you use Cooper cheese for your cheesesteaks? I do not. Cheese is expensive. I actually put, unless requested, I got 4 cheeses as options, but we put our mozzarella cheese, on our cheesesteaks because we toast all our sandwiches. So you make the cheesesteak, you put the mozzarella, you slide it through the oven to toast up the roll real quick. It melts the cheese. That is what we use. Sounds like it sounds like an Abbott Costello routine. I was going in circles with this lady yesterday. It was annoying. I really wanted to turn around and say, "Hold on, let me get the owner," and spin a 360. Say, "Oh, hi, how can I help you?" A regular hoagie to me. So I'm the idiot. So Jameson is actually telling me that I'm the idiot for not knowing a regular hoagie is an Italian. Jameson, you're coming in with fire your first day, and now pissing me off in the last 10 minutes by standing up with this other lady that, like, we have Italian, ham, turkey, roast beef, club, so many different things. Turkey, bacon, cheddar, BLT, meatball, chicken parm. There's lots of hoagies we've got on our menu. What the heck? Is that a thing? Supposedly. And not only was it an Italian, it's an Italian with a load, literally like a pound of onions on it, hot peppers, mayonnaise, and how many people get mayonnaise and oil on their hoagie? Seriously. Seriously. My crap. Mozz on a cheesesteak. Come on. It's mozzarella. It's cheddar. It's American, or it's provolone. That's what we got. We got regular sharp provolone. I don't have the Cooper or the Cooper sharp. Yeah, that's the way we do it. That's the way we do it. We make a banging cheesesteak. We do. We do it with a load of stuff. Me personally, we've had this conversation before on this show and on social media. To me, a cheesesteak would not get mozzarella. It would get extra American cheese, folded into the steak. You got to chop it into the steak. Fried onions, hot banana peppers, and mayonnaise and ketchup. That is my go-to cheesesteak. Now, you're not an idiot. I'm just saying that's what I'd assume. But I actually, in my mind, knew that she probably wanted an Italian when she said regular. But if I would have just made an Italian for her without asking what specific, I didn't want this. I wanted turkey, or I wanted just ham. It would have been wrong if I didn't get specifics. Sounds like a case for it. Does. It does. Got to get my training in. We'll return for the draft. Jose, hasta mañana. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll recap whatever craziness Howie gets us into tonight. So how did you turn this customer experience around? My interview. You know what I did? I said, absolutely sure. I used my customer service voice and made sure she walked out with a big smile on her face. Even though she was probably cussing me out, saying that kid that was working there, she probably thought I was a kid. Because what grown-ass man works in a pizza shop his entire life? This guy does. But anyway, with that, we got to start the wrap-up process here soon. I got one more sponsor I got to give out here real quick. Go to the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, May 11th, 2:30. Edge of Philly Sports. Maybe even me. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking of seeing if I can get that Saturday off. Go check them out for Phillies pregame and postgame live. The Holiday Inn and Suites at the Drexel Brook Event Center, 5400 Fern Boulevard, Drexel, PA. May 11th, starting 2:30. EOP will be there watching the Phillies game, doing pregame show from there, doing postgame show from there. They'll probably have tickets and giveaways as well. I believe they're giving away Phillies tickets at the event as well. So come on out, meet the hosts that are on the other side of the camera. Come say hello, watch the Phillies, have a little bit of fun. Fighting final, pre and post show, May 11th, Streetlight Kitchen and Bar in Drexel Hill, PA. And again, like I said earlier in the show, check out EOP, their lineup. Got Fly Like an Eagles podcast. That's Mitchie Poo 515. The NFL Draft Show live starting at 7 o'clock through the final round. 5 fantastic commentators on the entire draft. And, of course, Sixers and Phillies post-game shows tonight as well. Let's catch up on some of these final comments. Phillies, Sixers, and draft day. Big day. Can we go 3 for 3? A successful draft. A Sixers win. DeAnthony Melton may be back for tonight. Very likely. That would be huge. And can the Phillies get off their – they go and win 7 in a row and then go and drop 2 because Rob Thomson doesn't know how to write a freaking lineup. That idiot. I could do a whole show, and I can't wait to do a show sometime this summer just bad-mouthing Rob Thomson, how Brandon Marsh doesn't start 2 days in a row when he's one of your 2 best hitters of the team. But Nick Castellanos has still started every single goddamn game this season is beyond me. I'm pissed off about the Phillies right now. What's the name of your pizza shop? Fox's Pizza Den, Kennett Square. See, I got a shirt on right here. Oh, my mic's blocking the logo on my shirt right now. Fox's Pizza Den, Kennett Square, 345 Scarlet Road. I'm there today from about 10:15 till about 8 o'clock tonight. I'm there all day tomorrow. I got this weekend off. Got a lot of stuff going on this weekend, but I'm normally there on the weekends as well. But yeah, come check us out. I'd love to see you. I love to put faces to the play. When Adam showed up yesterday, Adam Mack, a guy that I got started writing 3 years ago at All About the Birds. Um, and finally meet him in person. It was so great. I've met a whole bunch of people from this show and from social media that have come in to say hello and introduce themselves. That's a fantastic thing to put faces to names. Did you remind her to check out the Thursday night draft watch party at least? No, I did not. That's right. Fox's Pizza. Ken Square. I still not. I don't even know where my menu is that I used to always keep here. Jim's on 62nd was the best cheesesteak in Philly until it burned down, and they sold it a couple years back. I haven't been back since it reopened. There's a lot of great cheesesteak places out there. Takes good steak, and it takes the style of making. You gotta chop the cheese into the steak. Got to. It's got to melt and get all in there. Uh, I, Liam ain't gonna be anywhere on edge of Philly. So yeah, sounds delicious. Stinger hoagie. Um, yeah, don't start talking sandwiches when TMZ's in the chat because he just never stops with food. He just loves food. Who's this? The Panthers experience Uncle Quan. What's going on, Edge? Never got a chance to catch one of your live vids. Thank you very much. We're here every single morning, 8 a.m. for 90 minutes, talking everything. And yes, this final part, your scouting reports gave me, dude, let me tell you something. What Deebs, Shane Half, and some of the guys do, breaking down scouts on this or videos, and it's for football, but they also do it for basketball as well, and the NBA draft as well. The way they break the scouting reports of these athletes down, these kids down going into drafts, phenomenal. And they do a fantastic job. I learned more to do this show from watching this channel. So thanks for checking in live. We're just about ready to wrap this one up, though, today. We only got about 5 minutes left. Fox's Pizza looks great. Good reviews on Google. Look, Google reviews suck. There's one from like 9 years ago that someone said that they had better pizza at a strip club or truck stop than us. Look, reviews are so tough to come by because nobody ever puts a good review out there. Everybody puts the negative reviews out there. When you give me a terrible, I still remember it was like 2010. Like, oh, that better pizza at a strip club and truck stop. So my response, and I put this out there publicly, was, well, I'm going to the wrong truck stops and strip clubs because I've never had good pizza at them. And that didn't win me any favors with that customer, but whatever. People have no problem leaving a negative review. People have a hard time going and taking the time out of their day to put a positive review out there, and that always annoys me. Rob Thomson doesn't spell his name with a P because he hates the – dude, I've wanted to make a Rob Thomson spelling his own name wrong joke for a long time, Jameson. That is spot on right there. No answer. I looked which one? Because there's food at the finals where they're doing the live thing. Anyway, guys, it's time to wrap it up. So we wrap this up tomorrow. We'll obviously be talking about a Sixers win a little bit, but majorly we'll be talking about whoever the Eagles draft at 22, at 15, at 27, at 11, at 32. If they don't draft at all, if they get Patrick Surtain, which they're not, but I'm still holding out 1 ounce of hope that they do. It's not going to happen, but maybe they do. A scenario to get Patrick Surtain, J.J. McCarthy starts falling in the draft. He's not. He's not going to fall past 12, 11, 12, wherever the Vikings pick. And all of a sudden, maybe he does. And he starts falling and falling and falling. And then Denver calls Philly and be like, yo, I want pick 22. And Howie Roseman's like, sure, give me Patrick. And we get Patrick Surtain for less than necessary because Denver becomes desperate to get J.J. McCarthy. It's a scenario that I've played out in my head that is completely unrealistic. But maybe. You never know. But we will be talking tomorrow. We'll start the show off welcoming the newest Philadelphia Eagle to the team. What we're going to get, what it means for the team. We'll talk the results of the first round of the draft completely. We'll see who's left on the board, who the Eagles should draft, when and where, depending on what they have to give up in trades tonight and stuff like that. We will talk Sixers tomorrow. I do think the Sixers get their first victory of this series tonight, especially if the Anthony Melton. This game, Nick Nurse needs to make some major changes to his rotation. He does. I don't know if he will, but he should. But I think the Sixers get off this night. The refs have been told by the league, go easy on the Sixers tonight to get the Sixers fans, players, teams, and coaches off our backs just for one night. Give them a night. Let them get a W so they stop bitching and moaning, and then we can go back to forcing them out of the playoffs in Game 4. That's how that plays out. That's right. In Howie we trust. So with that, again, I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow. Wherever you're watching on whatever platform, get interactive, and share it out. Tell everybody. Tell one. Tell all. Trending in the AM, the #1 Philadelphia sports morning show on YouTube. You don't need to listen to the dial and the crap they put out. You can plug us in your car. You can listen at work. You can listen anywhere you want. Make sure you're here every single morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday, for the 90 minutes, the best sports talk, and the only sports talk where your opinions actually matter. We've had about 180 opinions this morning come across. Okay? The thing, I wish. We got to get the super chat button back active here. Turns out that someone tried to super chat me yesterday. They lost they got in trouble for a violation a couple months ago. It'll be back. So you guys will be able to super chat tip me eventually. But if you want to help me out, you find me on Twitter at Beard and Knowledge. I do have the tip jar open there. You're more than welcome to throw me a shekel or two there. Guys, we're live every single morning, 8 a.m. Make sure you're tapped into Edge of Philly Sports because, again, live tonight, 7 p.m., hours of draft coverage live. Deebs, Shane Half, who will be on tomorrow as well. Shane Half will be on tomorrow as well at 9 a.m. I forgot to say that. Giving us his expert opinion on whatever the Eagles do. He'll be on. Dave, Mark Henry. There's going to be what a crew. Ryan Reese, a crew of extremely smart people will be live for hours tonight, talking every pick as it happens live. So, guys, with that being said, Tobias needs to get RKO'd before the game. Dude, let's get Randy Orton to ring the bell tonight for the Sixers game. And as the lineups, he can ring the bell and run over an RKO out of nowhere. Guys, again, thank you for tuning in. For Edge of Philly Sports, I am Phil Stiefel. This is Trending the AM. I will see you tomorrow, guys. And as always, it's real simple. Go Birds.